Hey guys, this is Mindfulness with Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hello, Kat.
We are friends for those of you who don't know us. We're friends for maybe a little over a year. I think I first met Mary at a tango marathon, and last year around this time is almost a year old that I stayed at Mary's place with a friend and with her lovely cat. Um, and that's the time when I first heard the term mindfulness. And I'm very curious about the concept. And as I kind of go through my therapeutic journey, I'm getting more interested in what mindfulness is, as it seems it's a really therapeutic technique that can help me to bring more of myself into life. So, Mary, this is what we are going to explore today. How do you feel?
I feel great. Thank you, Kat. As always, I think I would love to talk with people like you who are interested in mindfulness because I've been practicing and learning about it for quite a few years. So I've experienced it and really elevated my experience in life and specifically in tango uh, for for very good results. So I would love to share with people and help them to elevate their own experience as well in life. And
I
it's
love.
very simple, it's not as hard as you imagine.
It's not as hard as I imagine. Is it really the case? But there's one thing I do want to know that Mary, I've seen her in all kinds of situations, and no matter how, people around her were either angry, agitated, happy, excited, she always resembled like a kind of an air of calmness. And that's where my curiosity really drills in. I'm really curious, like, what's helping her to maintain that state of mind. So that's like just double interest in the concept of mindfulness and how practicing it can bring that zen, that calmness into life. So I do have to admit that I cheat a little bit, that I look it up, mindfulness online, and see what the common definition is. So according to the dictionary, and I'm just going to read it out loud, it says it is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, bodily sensations, used as a therapeutic technique. Um, is that accurate? Is that what mindfulness
It's
is?
a, yeah, it's a concept that included a lot of qualities of mindfulness, actually, besides what's the essence of mindfulness, which is just awareness.
Hmm.
Accepting part is, say, the action of mindfulness is once you're aware, then you accept. But once you accept, there is a consequence. When you accept it, then you feel, oh, it's not going to be there forever. And the impermanence nature of everything, it will go away, right? Even if you want to cling on it, you can't.
Hmm.
So once you know this, once you're aware whatever is happening, then you actually become calm because if you keep fighting it, you're not calm. So calmness is a consequence, is a byproduct of mindfulness. It's not a requirement.
Hmm. I noticed that you mentioned awareness a lot. What is awareness? What do we need to be aware of?
You can observe whatever is happening at this moment.
Hmm.
If there's something coming through your thoughts, I know our CPU is very fast and we're using very small portion of our CPU. As I'm talking with you, I can have thoughts in the back of my mind.
Ah,
But
what are those thoughts?
maybe when we are conversing, I'm
Hmm.
not 100% listening. I'm listening with the mind of how to answer your question, which are in the back of my head. They're my thoughts while I'm listening, right? But I'm observing myself at that moment. Oh, I'm actually trying to think how to answer you instead of giving full 100% of attention to just listen each word while you are speaking.
Hmm.
So when I observe that, that means I have the awareness. However, I observe that I'm not rejecting. Yeah, it's there. Now I bring it back, my attention back to what you're talking about. Instead of, oh, I'm so bad. I was trying to answer your question by thinking 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that is not a mindfulness practice.
Hmm.
So there is a recognition, which is the awareness part. The essence of mindfulness is awareness. It's the recognition. And then once you recognize, now you accept, okay, it's there. Now bring back. Your mind is now coming back to the present moment. So now this is your mindfulness practice.
Hmm. I like that you're sharing the live example of the exact moment we are in right now to as an example to help me understand what awareness is. So maybe let's pause a second to help me gain awareness and based on the concept you have just introduced, um, how can I be mindful of the present moment that we are in?
So it's a practice, it's like any muscle.
Hmm.
Awareness is how you train your brain to be in the present moment. Our
Hmm.
brain, our mind is very good at planning and very good at remembering what's happened before. So we have to train or retrain our mind to stay here. But why our mind likes to go back, likes to go future? It's survival. We have trained our mind to survive in this moment, in this life. So we are calculating based on our experience what's going to happen in the next moment based on our experience. But our mind isn't calculating in the past. And then our mind is trying to predict what will happen based on what we have experienced in the past. So our mind is actually not here.
It's interesting that you say that. Yes, it is kind of out of the basic instinct. We all want to survive, even if at this moment no one's hunting me. I am not in the middle of a busy cafe, people watching by. I have to be aware of the surroundings, even in the most comfortable environment.
Yes.
And as you are describing yours, I try to think, okay, what is it that my body is doing? Other than the part that you see on the screen, I do realize that my hands are feeling warm. I do feel like, there is kind of a feeling like I'm going to sweat and I am sweating. And I think that's because it's new. This is something new that I'm doing, right? This is a new topic that I'm so curious to explore. And I'm with a friend and I'm aware that I'm on the recording. And that is something that my body is not quite used to yet. And I could tell that I'm clenching my legs, I'm clenching my feet, and I have a tendency to keep the fists so that it kind of reduces the anxiety and going back to your instinct of survival. So even if this is not a life or death moment, this is a moment that I'm not used to. I'm not comfortable with. My body is giving me some reactions. And just like you said, it is a practice. And I'm so curious to know what are some of the things that I can learn to do, I can learn to practice so that when I'm encounter uncomfortable situations, I can find a way to calm my body, these parts of it so that I can stop some of the sweating, for example. um, and kind of regain the self that I want to be. And I feel like maybe this is, do you think, exploring mindfulness is also part of this kind of rediscovering ourselves and what we are capable of doing the things we are not aware of. Just like you said, the brain is only tapping a limited percentage of capacity. And mindfulness, use a silly interpretation, mindful. I want to use like all the capacity within my brain. So maybe let's pause a second, going back to the we kind of like talk a little bit about what mindfulness is. For you, Mary, why did you start mindfulness and why mindfulness? What has changed you in the journey since you started practicing it?
So first of all, I want to tell you, you have very good observation of yourself, your body, how your body responded. And second of all, I want to say there is tool and it's simple. It can
Hmm.
get you back to the present moment in matter of minutes.
Should we talk about the tool? Just give me one teaser. What are some of the things that can calm me down just a little bit at this moment?
All right, let's practice now. So
Okay.
the practice, it's called mindful of breathing. Why? You realize you breathe only for now. You breathe now. You cannot breathe for an hour ago. You cannot breathe for 2 minutes from now. You really have to breathe in the moment,
Hmm.
right? Same as heartbeat. It only breathes at this moment, at this now. So you can use this as anchor to bring your awareness to the moment, to the present moment. What does anchor mean? You just use that like your focus object. It can be your breath because you're always breathing. Otherwise, yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah. And your heart is always beating, right? Otherwise, so these
same.
two are very good anchors. And there's other external anchors you can use. For example, an object, a flower in front of you, just look. So anchor just means bring your attention to this. So
Bring.
let's try to use breath as an anchor to bring the awareness to the present moment. And I'll tell you later, what does it create?
Okay, let's
Okay.
try it. And
All
for
right.
those of you who are watching, if you're curious, let's try this exercise with Mary.
Yes, let's try together. So just sit comfortably. If you can, uh, lower down your gaze or just close your eyes. And the only purpose for now is to facilitate, less distraction. So close your eyes.
Have my eyes closed.
Yes, and just sit comfortably and nothing needs to struggle. That's one key principle for my teaching is you need to be comfortable, but aware. Don't fall asleep in 2 seconds.
You will know that if that happens.
Yeah, yeah. So now just notice your breath of the inhalation and exhalation. No need to manipulate the length, the depth,
Mm.
just aware.
Do I need to breathe in and out through my nose or like
Good question.
yoga practice in the nose and out to the mouth?
So just normal breathing in and out of your nose. And hopefully your nose isn't blocked at this moment. If so, you can use your mouth slightly, not too much. So whatever you can breathe normally, just be aware of your breath. That you're breathing in and out. Now notice the temperature of the air breathing in Just notice. And then pay attention to the temperature of your breath going out. And just notice there's a different temperature. The in-breath is a bit cooler and the out-breath is a bit warmer.
Yeah.
But you don't need to reason why. Just observe. And accept that the temperatures are different. That's the second element of mindfulness, is accepting what's happening now.
I'm going to continue breathing, but now I'm going to slowly open my my eyes. And it's good to look at Mary again. I
Welcome back.
I always like a breathing exercise. And that's one so simple practice that I tend to forget. And just like I described the situation I was just in, the moment right before this exercise, I noticed the difference in terms of, funny enough, body temperature and the comfort of ease. Not that I wasn't comfortable before sitting in the same chair, in the same environment, just adding a little bit air in and out, I can immediately feel the temperature of my body drops down a little bit. And you can't tell that from the screen, but my heartbeat has dropped. It's kind of back to the state where I usually am about to fall asleep. That's the state I would like to be in. And funny enough, the pace that I speak has slowed down quite a bit. And that's the pace I want to be in. And that's,
Wow.
I want to use the word magic.
Yes.
Even, even if it's, just like you said, it's so simple, but it's so hard to remember. Exercise just as breathing. Pause a little bit. Breathe.
Yes.
Take a
You know
moment.
why?
Yeah. Why?
So this breathing exercise, it actually alter your autonomic nervous system.
Hmm. Tell
It's
me
like
more.
magic. So in
Tell me
our autonomic nervous system, so there's two systems. One is called sympathetic nervous system. When you are in a fight and flight mode, like our survival mode, we're focused, we're vigilant, we're trying to look for danger, anxiety, fear. And then the other, it's called parasympathetic nervous system. It's also called rest and digest. When you have a full belly, when you're about to sleep, when you're relaxed, when you just wake up from sleep, providing you're not having a nightmare, you're in a state of tranquility, relaxed. It's the parasympathetic nervous system. This is active. Naturally, every 90 minutes, the two systems alternate.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's our natural rhythm. I will not go on for this. It's another branch, but this system in our modern life, we are very much in the tense moment, do, go, go, go. So our sympathetic nervous system is always active, or in relation is more active, longer period of time than the parasympathetic nervous system.
Hmm.
and we don't know how to actively bring up the relaxation. We only know sleeping is rest. However, when you use this breathing exercise, certain type of breathing exercise, you can activate the parasympathetic nervous system to have conscious resting, conscious relaxation. And it's very powerful.
What
Which
is
we did only for, I think it's less than 10 breaths, aware the 10 breaths, maybe usually 5 breaths will activate your parasympathetic nervous system.
I like this concept of conscious resting. It sounds like whenever I want, I can take a nap consciously just to bring back to the state of I'm falling asleep, I'm resting, I'm creating a pause in such a busy and fast-paced living for myself
Yes. And
to,
guess what? Because when your mind is relaxed, you can be way more productive.
yes,
You can make better decisions because there's not so much noise. You know, the whole point of mindfulness meditation is to declutter your mind.
mm,
So when you have a calm mind, you can see things more clearly. Imagine you see a lake. When there's a wind, the surface of lake is small ripples. You cannot see the bottom of the lake, right? But if there's no wind, no noise, and the lake is so calm, not only it can reflect you, but you can also see through the bottom. And that is what calmness brings you. Your mind is you can have better insight to a situation. You can also make better decisions because there's no noise, there's no outside influence to your mind. Isn't that magical?
isn't that magical? Yes. And as we are speaking, I'm still trying to breathe, similar to the pace that we have just practiced. And I'm really trying not to worry about if there is a next question I want to raise and Mary. How do I phrase the question? How do I try to respond and also listening? I'm really trying to focus on maybe just one thing because you're very beautiful to look at. There are so much distractions for me. Look at the earrings, look at the dress, look at the necklace. There's just so much that can distract my mind. So one thing I'm focusing on myself is the breathing, and on you is actually the voice. The story that's being told, your experience that's being shared is actually through the voice. And I can tell that you are focusing on listening to me at this moment. From it can tell from the presence, from the muscles around your eyes, so that I know that you're smiling at what I'm saying. And that's magic itself. That not to worry, to take out the distractions and just focus on one thing or maybe one or two things that my mind can zone in, and how much difference it's already making. I I'm not sweating. I swear I'm not sweating. This is a good feeling. This is really a good feeling. And going back to my question earlier, with such practice, and we're just only exploring the tip of the iceberg, just the surface, using one simple exercise. And there are many exercises that you mentioned. So after practicing it for a while, what changes have you noticed in yourself, in your life, in the presence that you create in moments with others that you have realized? What changes has this mindfulness brought to you, your life, your friends, your surroundings?
A lot. So it can be a laundry list. But the one thing I have to say, curiosity, right? Curiosity is something that as we grown up, we start to have less and less because we felt, we have learned, we have experienced, we know. Therefore, a lot of times we put the curiosity behind, say, oh, I know something, so I don't need to know this thing, something new. Because when something new in front of us, we're uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So, curiosity is how do you expand your comfort zone with a little bit discomfort? So now you actually become more comfortable with more things. That is more freedom.
Does he always have to be discomfortable to discover a little bit more through curiosity? I notice a shake of head and nod of head.
Just a little bit.
Mm,
But a lot of times we reject new things. So we're
mm,
not curious at all.
mm.
I mean, we are habitual animals, right? Humans are habitual animals. Why? Because it's safe. It all comes back down again survival. We want
Survive.
safety. But the true safety is not prison yourself at home or
It's
comfort zone, we call this.
mm,
It's to expand your comfort zone so that your safety is bigger and bigger.
oh, it I have an interesting correlation of this. We I assume you watch Harry Potter. Have you watched Harry Potter?
I watch and forget.
We need to be a little bit mindful of that. I just remember, I think is in, I need to be more mindful of that. But in one of the movies, I think they introduce a concept of, I forgot the word. It's kind of like a protector. So when you're in danger, when Harry Potter was in danger, he saw a deer, like a spiritual animal, across the lake. And I think he casts a spell and it draws a circle around himself. So it's like a bubble, like that keeps him safe, keeps him, away from the attack. For those of you who are listening, if you know the word, please share with us. um, but what you're describing, the safe zone is not simply we're at home, we feel safe. It's more like creating a safe, I don't know what to call it, like energy zone or like safety ball. And we carry it with us so that wherever we are, we have this safety place to protect our energies, protect ourselves. And we're always in a space of calmness, and we can expand the ball. Maybe we can share the ball at some point with the people we feel safe with. And I really like that. And it surprised me that the first word that you share, what changes you, what's the biggest change, is curiosity. And I love it because as a kid, when we look around, everything is so interesting. Everything is so new. What's this red thing that's in the sky that's so warm? Why did it disappear? Where did it go? Why did it reappear the second day? What is it? Why do I feel warm? Why do I feel happy when it's up? And we lose all of that. Or I shouldn't say lose all of it. Most of it, a lot of it, a big portion of it that now when I just see the sun, I'll be like, oh, it's a sunny day. Great. Is it gonna rain? What does my Siri tell me what the weather is gonna be like? My mind, just like you said, and now I never thought about this before. My mind immediately going to what the survival mode would support me. It supplies me with a plan, with the next actions that I need to take, rather than there's the sun. Ah, it's there again. It's the same orange object that I saw it as a kid. And it's so warm. It's nice to be in the sun.
And guess what?
Yeah, guess what?
When you're in that state, you don't judge. You have no experience to judge. Therefore, when you're in this state of curiosity, you take away the ego judgments. You're not saying this is right, this is wrong, this is what I prefer, that's what I not prefer. You're open to all possibilities.
I'm open to all possibilities. Once I take out the judgment out of the system while I'm just experiencing. And when we're saying experiencing, it sounds such a abstract, open word that invites me to just feel like, oh, there's so much, and that can overwhelm me too.
And you're just there now. You're just right there now. You're not going somewhere else to say, oh, I have experienced the same thing before, so I know what this is going to happen in the next minute. Sure, we will. But if you actually do that before, after, all the time, but you're not now. So
Mhm.
it takes you away from your present moment. Therefore, your curiosity is where you can bring your actual self to the present moment. Just being curious. And even if you have looked at this laptop for many, many days, and all of a sudden, I saw a cat hair. If I'm not looking at it, I will not see the cat hair.
If you're not looking at it, you will not see the cat hair. If you're not looking at it from a new, fresh perspective, from the way or from an angle that you never look at it before, you will not notice the things that you have not noticed before. And I can
Yes.
tell that you're trying to see, okay, what else is there? Ooh, maybe that's a snack from a stain from, the soup I made the other day. I'm making this up, obviously. Um, but I like that a lot. And maybe let's drill a little bit more about judgment, because that's something we consciously, unconsciously do. And I absolutely aware of that all the time, of myself, how I look at others, even on the weather. We judge weather all the time. It's sunny. Oh, it's too hot. It's rainy. Oh, it's going to be wet. My shoes are going to suffer. If it's windy, oh, my hair, what am I going to do? It's all about, it's interesting now that we look at it from the angle of survival. It's all kind of, okay, what can we do with it? What do we have to do so that the next moment we are still going to be dry, we're still going to be, hair put together. So it's interesting that it actually all goes back to the right moment, because judgment comes from maybe the fear, the worry, the uncertainty about what's going to happen the next minute. But if we are only focusing the now, it
You won't have fear.
because I don't have to think about what the next moments are. But then does that mean, is it like I have no plan? Then I don't think about anything in the future. Is mindfulness equal to blindless happiness and no plan for
No,
anything?
that's called mindlessness. There is a word.
That is the word for sure. Yes.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Mindlessness, mindfulness, sometimes people confuse them.
Tell me more. What's the difference? What I need to be conscious of mindlessness.
Mindlessness is almost like it's oblivious, right? It's indifference. Whereas if you're mindful, you're not indifferent. You actually care. A lot of times people think, oh, you're so zenful, you don't care. It's not true.
So true.
No, not true. So on the surface, you can always say, oh, she's not fighting. Sure. But does fighting bring you the result you want? Maybe not. Maybe yes. But people who wants to fight say, if you don't fight, you will never have the result you want.
But I
However,
don't. Yeah.
If you really want peace, do you think fighting is the solution for peace? No, not for war, not for yourself.
Mm.
For example, you were talking about we're doing this, doing that. And nowadays we become human doing, not human being.
Ah, ha, that's hu we are human doing. We are a human being.
Yes. And we're also promoting human having. I have this, I have that, I want to have more of this, more of that. I want to have this experience. You know, it used to be like, oh, if you use money to buy material goods, you will always appreciate when it's right in front of you. And then somebody says, oh, use money to buy your experience because that's where your life is. Right now, then people go on vacations, that's experience, go on exotic experiences. However, these are still way of consuming,
Consuming.
consumption, right? So we consume external things to feel good inside. But this does not last long.
Unless you have endless money, which for some of some of the few it's a privilege, but then they have other deficiencies in their life because they have deficiency in one object. And it's interesting that you kind of use travel as an example, because even with travel, we can all approach it differently. We can all believe that experience can be bought. It's not something to feel, to get the feet dirty, get the hands dirty, to be in that moment. We believe that it can be bought by either leveraging on an external agency, by, whatever planning that we do for ourselves. So it's similar to buying, just purchasing, except what we purchase is not a solid object. It is a time, or it is, a space that we like, a hotel, like the resort, like entertainment park, a time in the space that we bought for ourselves to exploit. I
And guess
want this, I
what?
want
It's
that.
fleeting.
Reading, yes. And maybe it will create the adrenaline, the dopamine that we need. It hits. It all feels great. It's just like we go to a bar, we order drinks, we are so happy with it. So the next time we were like, okay, that experience, that state of mind of like forgetting of all the troubles I had, that can be bought. That's something I can experience over and over again. So long as find a bar, so long as I have the money, I walk in there. That's where I can have. But that's not sustaining. I mean, again, how much alcohol that I can take? I can call myself an alcoholic if that actually becomes a habit, if that, over sees the limit my body can take. So you're absolutely right. And it didn't
And
occur to
guess
me.
what?
Yeah, guess what?
They're all external.
They're all external.
You
Because
depend on something, someone outside of you. That's
I'm
human doing, human having. But if you really want to be a human being, your own being, you can create anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere to create it within you. And it's on demand anytime.
I
3
love that. It's on demand, it's self-sufficient, it's self-supplied. I like that when I can bring a happy face, a happy smile back to my face without spending a dime. I love that. And that's absolutely what's important to me. And I think that will probably be the case for a lot of people who would like to have that experience. We self-create, self-brought, self-sufficient, without relying or dependent on an addiction, an external object, an external experience, or anyone else. And it's interesting that when you say like external, because we I tend to think that I will have to depend on an external partner, and that's about relationships. And I'm sure we'll explore this subject in another conversation. But yeah, I used to think that I have to depend on an external partner, and that partner in the broader term, a friend, a mentor, a therapist, a boyfriend, a husband. I have to depend on another person to bring me
Even a
what I
job.
need, even a job, to bring me what I need so that I know who I am, so that I know what I want, so I can see my value in their value system. And that defines me and what I can offer, what I'm bringing. Is that the case? Is that really the way for me to know, for me to define myself? Probably not. It sounds like it's not, because we are the being. We just need to know what the being is, right? And I think the little exercise that we did at the beginning, the breathing is being. It's part of what we naturally have. So I don't have to, okay, Mary, let me fetch my wallet and let me get the $5 that I have left over from the spending I had the day before, that I buy something so that I can feel the being. I don't have to. I have the tool. I love it. I love it.
I'm so happy. Thank you for asking all these questions.
So I think we are probably at a good time that we can, save the next good topics for the next conversation. Um, let's have a final kind of a wrap-up question. So I think we talked about the why mindfulness, why is it important? We sort of touched a little bit of the how. Um, so maybe let's talk about like the what. So between this conversation and the next one, what are some of the small things that I can, maybe just one thing, what is the one small thing that I can pay attention to in addition to breathing that I have just practiced on the daily basis to remind myself that, hey, I am a human being. I want to be. I don't want to have. I don't want to consume. I don't want to possess. I just want to be. So, what is that one small thing I can remind myself of?
Very good question. So practicing breathing exercise is one of the most essential and simplest form. So the second one is paying attention to the sensations of your body. I will tell you why for the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good segue. So bodily sensations, your body, how do you feel? Which part of your body feels what kind of sensations? Because our body respond before our mind. But we didn't know. We have a thinking mind. We suppress our body. But our body is so intelligent. It has its own saying. We just don't hear it. So listen to your body. Pay attention to the bodily sensations. Like you already observed yourself, you have sweating palm or, raised heartbeat. All these are sensations in your body. You can just notice. And once you notice, don't judge it. And don't even try to reason why I do this or question. Just
Mhm.
realize, just notice.
Just notice, hey, I think that's a good exercise to bring a little bit into every day. What does my body tell me? What part of my body that feels odd, weird, different, discomforted? Um, that's a interesting exercise. And am I breathing? Am I breathing the way when I sense that discomfort?
Yeah, I remember when I used to go presentations and my heart will really, raise. heart rate as I walk into the presentation meeting or open the Zoom when I'm about to present my slides. And I really have to like take 3 breaths and calm myself. And then I become calm. And that's so effective. First notice, okay, my heartbeat is like raising. And this notice is awareness.
And it starts with awareness. And we will talk more about it because I'm curious. Once I notice, and first I have to notice, but once I notice, what's coming up next? What do I need to react? Or do I not to react? Can I just let my body be in that state? Let's save those questions for the next conversation. Thank you so much, Mary.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I really enjoy our conversation, and I hope whoever is watching or listening also will enjoy. And please give us comments and feedback, and we'll launch more episodes with your suggestions.
Yes, and if you like this episode, hit the subscribe button. Shameless plug. Mindful of the shameless plug. So thank you so much, Mary. We'll see you
Thank you,
next
Kat.
time.
Bye bye.
Bye.